Hey guys, Hitting Trees Disc Golf here. My name's Jeremy. For this video, I'm going to do a tentative 2022 in the bag. I have the discs that I used last year and what were my main throwers and kind of how I worked through the 2021 season, and then what my tentative additions are going to be and how I'm going to be working them into the bag. To kind of go over what last year was like for me, it was my first year ever playing. I started playing probably around March or so, and then from there, and then started playing tourneys starting, I think my first one had to be in like May. And then from there I played 7 throughout the year of 2021, and this year I plan to do much more. After my first year of disc golf, I've learned a good bit, obviously nowhere close to many of you others that are watching this video, but it's my journey, it's the beginning of it, and kind of just going to go over what I started with and where I'm going. To kind of get started, I'm going to start with my putting putter, which is going to be the Brody Roach. Specifically, these black and gold ones and any of the black colored ones are my favorite to use during tournaments. As you can see, there's some decent wear on these. It's getting beat in for sure. I'll probably use it a little bit longer before I start putting it into my practice discs, but for now, this is my go-to, and I have a couple other backups. Next, my throwing putters, which are still the same disc. It's a Roach, but it's in the big Z plastic, so I have 2 of them. This was my one that I had from last year that kind of got me in on throwing these. And then this is just like a backup that I throw in the bag just in case I lose this one or if anything happens to this one. Something that was a late addition to last year was the Berg, and this is the addition this year. Obviously, I just bought this one, but was just the Berg. I started throwing it. I'm kind of learning it. It's still a work in progress. I'm not going to say that I'm perfect using it yet, but it's getting there. I just need to play a couple rounds with the Berg only and kind of get used to how it flows, how it throws, the whole 9 on it. My go-to upshot approach disc has to be the Get Freaky Zone. I have a couple of them here. My favorite, this being a newer edition, this one still flies very true to what a zone will fly. Obviously that Wonder Bread stamp, beautiful. But my go-to thrower has to be this one. This one flies so straight for me with a small fade at the end. It's been so beat in. This was actually the disc that I threw my first ace with, and let's be honest, once you get your first ace, you become addicted. It's like no other to come back and keep trying to get that same ace you got on the same hole. A new addition for this year, I'm going to try out the soft zone. I haven't been able to get out yet and kind of throw this one. Looking back at some of the Jomez coverage, I saw a lot of people using this in like heavy winds. So I figured something like a soft zone, which feels like a real putter, would be a great disc to use when there's like a heavy headwind or heavy tailwinds and I just got to fight through those and just get to the basket. I also wanted it just to try on approach shots, maybe those like risky ones where kind of that flex plastic will kind of skip and bounce a little bit more. Maybe this one will stick a little bit more and kind of get me closer to the pin. Moving into my mid-ranges, I really only threw 2 mid-ranges last year. One, obviously, the Buzzz. I have a couple of them. This was addition through the end of last year, but has gotten beat in pretty well. This is probably my favorite disc I've ever had, ever will have. This Wonder Bread stamp on the white plastic is so clean. This disc flies so true for me. I mean, if I need to throw it on a hyzer, I need to throw it straight, I need to throw an Annie. This disc does it all for me. And as I've gotten better, I can push this. I got up to pushing this to 300 feet on a straight line. This disc will forever be the disc that I throw no matter what happens. The Buzzz is going to be my go-to. Next, another one that I truly fell in love with has to be the Archer. I know many people don't throw them. I know it's not a common disc. I don't see that many people ever throwing an Archer. Specifically, the Big Z plastic. This disc is so flippy. Like if I need to throw something on a crazy hyzer to anhyzer flip up, this is the disc. This thing flips up so fast for me. And this is my first one. This is the one that's so beat in and will flip like no other. I actually found a backup on eBay and I had to snatch it up as soon as possible because this plastic, Big Z, they don't make them anymore. I have to get them on the secondary market. This is my go-to. And then, surprisingly, after beating this one in, it's not as flippy as the other ones. It doesn't flip over and glide the same way as the Big Z plastic for me. This one is kind of my flip up to flat with slow Annie on it. So it does a little bit different, but still a valuable tool in my bag. Utility, that's all I can say. I throw this in my bag just in case that random situation in which you may need the most overstable disc known to man. Have I found a use for it in a tournament? Of course not. Have I used it a lot in practice? Of course. I can't say or trust that I'm going to throw this in a tournament ever, but it's always cool to have in the bag just in case you may need it. Another one of the discs that I really fell in love with this year has to be the Nate Sexton 2021 Firebird. This one specifically is my go-to fairway driver whenever I need something to hyzer at the end. I know these are supposed to be super overstable. Well, this one is so beat in that it isn't. This one flies straight and then with a nice little fade at the end. If you need something out, like just to get out there with a little baby fade at the end, this is my go-to. This one flies a little bit more true. Obviously, you can see it's been beat in as well. It's not going to have the same reliable baby fade as this one, but this one is more of your Firebird that you're used to throwing. Now you're going to question this, but that's okay. I also throw the Anax. I know that they're very similar, but for me, the Anax flips up and then carries a little S curve on it for me. So it'll fly, flip up to flat, maybe a little Annie, and then hyzer out at the end. Where the Firebird specifically, for me, only goes straight and then hyzers at the end. I don't really throw it on an S line. I don't really throw it with any Annie. Whenever I want to do that, I go to the Anax. This has been my go-to, just this blue basic one. I've had this for a while. And then this was a new addition. This is going straight into the bag. As soon as I found this at my local shop, I was like, I can't say no to it. I have to get it. I don't care how much money I've put into the sport or the fact that I really don't need it. I have other backups, but I wanted it, so I got it. Moving forward, I have my super understable discs. I have 2 Hades. I also, this year, want to learn how to throw a roller with these. So that's kind of on the list of things to do. I like the Hades because I can throw it on a hyzer. It gives me a good Annie and then nice little fade at the end. I've been mainly using this one. This is what I really rely on. This has been beaten in. As you can see, I really don't clean my discs, as you can tell. But this has been my backup and just something that I throw in the bag when I want to practice a flip up to flat or flip up to Annie with hyzer at the end. These are my go-tos. My main distance driver. I don't know when I fell in love with this disc, but I can't go anywhere else. I know I have a couple tentative options that you'll see later on. Star Destroyer, specifically this one. This top one is super flippy. Like if I throw this on an Annie, it's gonna hold that Annie for quite some time and then give me a little fade out at the end. Super flippy. Can pretty much flip it up to flat if I wanted to. The other 2 I have in here are more true. The Halo Destroyer, Calvin Heimberg, is much more overstable than the Star Ricky Destroyer that I have. I use this whenever I need a good forehand. Sometimes I have a tendency to flip it over and roll my wrist, which I'm working on. Forehand is a work in progress. But at least with this, I can rely on it a little bit more. And when I say that, I mean in tournaments. When I'm in practice, I don't rely on this disc that often just because I don't want to get used to rolling my wrist over. But for the purpose of what it is, in a tournament, if I need it, it's here. That's what I rolled with all of 2021 when it comes to tournaments. I didn't steer away from these discs. I just sat there and learned them. There was a period where I did, I think, 4 tournaments just back to back to back to back. And I told myself going into that span, I'm like, I'm not going to touch my bag. Let's learn what I can do with this, and we'll just play with that, and period, dot the I. That's what I did. And it turned out pretty well. I ended up in that span, I think 3 top 5s or top 3s or something, and then I got a 7th place on, of course, my home course. Ended up doing pretty well, and by the end of the year, I was in my first intermediate tournament and ended up winning it. So sometimes it's better just to stick with what you know than to steer away and try and add anything in when things are already working. Going into the 2022 season, I wanted to add some things to my bag, have more options, and have more shots that I could play with. So moving forward, I have these trial discs. I've thrown some of these. I've used some of these in practice or just throwing them around, but I've never taken them to a tournament and thrown them in a tournament just because I never really practiced them as much as the other discs that I already went through. I have no new putting putters I don't have any more approach discs that I'm working on. The Berg and the Zone are the two that I'm going to stick with. My putting putter and throwing putter, I'm going to stick with those. Those work. I'm not going to steer away from them when they're already set in, they work. So some additions I put in here are my mid-ranges, and then as I'm sure you noticed when it came to the disc speeds, I didn't have a lot of things between like the 7 to like 12 range. I only had really one disc in there, and that was the Firebird, and I really just relied on that. So some additions. I'll start with the mid-range. It was really the overstable mid-range that I was aiming to put something in it. So I chose 3 discs to try in this off season. First, I'm probably going to say this wrong, but it's the Kaxe. So far, I've been throwing this in the off season. Straight disc, super reliable, fades at the end. I've used it in just like an off season tournament. Didn't really mean anything, just a fundraiser for my local clubs in the area. Reliable. I enjoyed it, but I also wanted to try other things to see if any other discs stick for me. I heard good things about one coming up. The other one I wanted to try, which somebody let me throw in a practice round, was the Buzzz OS. I've heard bad things about this disc, about the rim being super shallow or people not liking it. I can't really remember it, but it didn't really feel that much different, and I already love the Buzzz. This one hasn't been thrown at all. I don't even think I've put it in a bag yet. I think it's just been sitting downstairs. But this is one I want to try, and I've heard some wonderful things about this disc, the DGA Quake. I've heard fantastic things about this disc and how reliable it is. It feels super nice in the hand, and I don't forehand a lot of mid-ranges. I really stick to the higher speed disc when it comes to forehanding them, but the Quake feels fantastic in my hand. I really cannot wait to get this out on the course or get this into the field and seeing if this is something that I can work into my bag. Next, we're moving on to kind of that fairway range that I don't have a lot in. So, a couple things I wanted to try. Thankfully, I had a birthday recently, so it kind of helped get some of these discs into my bag. One being the T-Bird 3, just something that's similar to the Firebird, less speed, still that reliable fade, and hopefully something that I could maybe even turn over a little bit or flip up, have it carry, and then like a nice little reliable fade at the end. Just something I'm trying. These discs are tentative, they're not guaranteed. I don't know if they're going to end up actually in the bag, but we're going to try them for sure. Next, I wanted more of a straight flyer, so I'm taking a look at the Stalker. I picked up 2 of them. I usually pick up 2 or so just to try out, so when I throw one, I can see if it's me or if it's the disc that I'm not enjoying or the feel of it that I'm not enjoying, so that I can at least figure out what's going on. I got a Haley King one, and then I have just a Z Stalker. Gonna try them both out, see what they feel like, see how I like them, see if I can get them to flip up real nice, be that straight disc in my bag. The next option for that spot is the Mantis. So obviously, who isn't a fan of Yuli? I know I am. I have to try the Mantis. This is a go-to. I found a great deal on eBay for a Wonder Bread Mantis with his little stamp in the side, and I was like, I have to try it. So once again, I have one Mantis and a second Mantis to see if these are going to be the discs that I can use for my straight shots. This disc just dropped, and this will show you my love for Paul Ulibarri. My local store had 30 or 40 Captain Raptors. Made sure to get there because I knew if there was any chance of getting, the Wonder Bread, I needed to get there early. I was able to pick up 2. I found 2 Wonder Breads. And if you follow me on Instagram, you saw I have other ones because I want to make sure I have enough of these just in case anything ever happens to them. It is the new Captain Raptor. I'm just messing around. Captain Raptor Wonder Bread stamps. 2 of them. I got a yellow and I got like this red orange colored Captain Raptor. These are going to be my throwers. I've told you this, I'll tell you 1,000 times. Wonder Bread is my favorite stamp known to man. There's nothing better than it. I don't care what you tell me. I can't wait to get out there and throw these. Here in Ohio, we've had a bunch of snow. I haven't been able to get out. It's melting. I don't like playing in the snow. I don't find it enjoyable. I don't go play in the snow. I'd rather spend my time putting. I'm hoping to get out tomorrow or Friday. We'll see how these are. Another straight flying-ish disc that I'm planning to add into the bag that I've thrown before. I've thrown this before. This is nothing new for me. Is the Discraft Undertaker. I have a couple of them. One I got from a tournament, which Wonder Bread, shocker. But these ones are also going to be additions to the bag. Gonna try them out, see how I like them. Once again, all these are tentative, so these aren't really in the bag. And I'll make another video when it comes to the actual in the bag. Moving forward, another disc that I've thrown before, for some reason got away from it or ended up throwing it and just didn't really like it as much anymore, but then started throwing it again and found out that I did enjoy it, has to be the Scorch. I want to show you my phone number, so I'm going to hide that there. But I have the first run Z Scorch. I picked these up right away because I thought they were super interesting. Loved them from the beginning, and then for some reason got away from them. So I picked up a second one, local store, grabbed this ESP1, and we're going to try this out and see if these can be my long distance straight flyers, something that I can rely on to have a nice little S-line to them or flip up the flat, carry straight with a nice little fade at the end. Next are the discs that are going to rival the Destroyer. I don't know if I'm adding these in. I've had these discs. I figured I would just try them, see if I liked them, see if they could do something different for me that maybe the Destroyer won't for me. But I just wanted to throw them back in the bag and see how they felt, see if they felt different now that I'm at a different spot in my disc golf career, I guess you would say, than I was when I initially got these discs. So to start, I have Nukes. Obviously, if you couldn't tell, I'm a fan of Discraft and Innova. I don't go away from those two. It's just what I'm comfortable with. I'm sure other plastic feels fantastic. It's just not for me. But the Nuke, everybody talks about it. Everybody throws them. The Big Z feels really good in my hand. I've always been a fan of Big Z plastic, as you saw the Archer. As you saw the Archer, I've loved it from the very beginning. I've had it forever. Love that disc. I think it was one of the first discs I received when I really got serious about disc golf. But Big Z has always felt really good in the hand. I also love the stamp. It's a beautiful disc. This is one of the older ones I've had just sitting in my basement waiting to be thrown. Taking it back out, seeing if I like it, seeing if it's something that maybe the Destroyer won't do, or maybe will take over the Destroyer for all I know. Lastly, for the discs, it's another Innova mold. It's the Wraith. I have a Star Wraith, and then I have a Garrett Girthy Halo Wraith. As we all know, these are a little bit more overstable than Star. This was a recent pickup because I wanted to see what this felt like versus this. Is it similar to the Destroyer? Is it different? Am I gonna like it more? Do I like the rim width a little bit different? Do I like anything about this that may change me from the Destroyer? I'm just trying things out. It's the off season. My first tournament isn't until April. I have more than enough time to work these in and see if these are anything I want to play with. Within the next month or so, I'll probably have exactly what I want, and that'll be the bag for the entire year, no matter what comes out. Those were all my discs. That's everything that I'm trying out this year, everything that I used last year, and then from here, we're just gonna kind of see what goes on and see what happens to the bag from here. To go over what last year's bag was like, I have changed up my bag. I was using the Dynamic Knit Disc Trooper. Did me well. It was a good bag. As you can tell, super beat in. I've used this bag, for everything. It did everything for me as a beginner. It had enough pockets for me to survive playing, but now I'm getting to the point where I need something a little bit bigger. I've enjoyed this, but it's time to move on. We're squatching it up. We're gonna use the Squatch this year. This will be my bag. This is what I'm gonna be going to. I love having all the room for every disc known to man. I love having all these pockets, having a place to put a scorecard because I didn't have one before. And let me tell you, anytime I had to do a paper scorecard, I was in trouble. This is going to be the bag for the year. As you can tell, this is new. I haven't taken this out this year, and I plan to put some discs in it starting tomorrow. Along with that bag, I'm also using a cart. The cart I have is a Zuka cart with the Buzzz on the side of it. I'm not going to bring it into frame. It's up here, but I'm not going to bring it into frame. It holds more than enough discs. I don't even know what to do with half the room. To add on to that, I also have the Infinite Discs Power Pocket. This is where I'm going to put all my putters at, my go-to discs for the round, and it has all those places for scorecards. This is going to be my go-to when it's a carding round or when I can use one. So I have my bag when I need to go to my bag. I have my cart when I need to go to my cart. And then I'll be ready for the season no matter what course I'm going to. And then for field work, makes it easy when I have all these discs I can carry out with me. I can pretty much carry out the entire bag if I want to just load it up with discs, as many as I can. And finally, I'm going to go with the most important part to any disc golfer's round, the mini. I'm a superstitious person. There's no other way around it. It's who I am. Without this mini, I can't putt for some reason. Don't know what it is. I just can't putt. Brodie Smith, Dark Horse Mini. It's my go-to. This makes me putt 20 times better. If I had attributes when it comes to playing, and this was like an attachment to my character, plus 100 putting, put it down in front of my disc, I'm not missing. But that's it. That's the 2022 Tentative in the bag. From here, it's playing, seeing what I want to use, and then adding it to the official bag. I will be coming out with another video when I officially have the bag set. Along with that, I'm doing a road to 950 rated. I don't know if you guys know this or follow me on Instagram, but I am 913 rated. I have come from being 850 rated all the way up to like 913 and still moving on up. I've spent a lot of time this off season practicing, especially on my putting, on throwing, changing my form, and the road to 950 is going to be the best way for you to follow my journey. From here, this is just the beginning. We're in February. The season has just begun for me. If you want to follow my journey, please subscribe to my channel. Please follow me on Instagram and Twitter. You can keep up to date on everything I'm doing to get ready for the 2022 season. Until then, I hope you guys have a great day and go out there and hit some trees.
What I want, I'll keep dreaming.